morning, campers. How the devil are you? It's just about morning as well. Turning out to be quite a nice day. Blue sky, quite a lot of cloud, quite a chill, a chill in the air. Anyway, here I am, taking a slightly longer route down to the river today, by starting at the river that you can see behind me. I haven't done this beginning to the walk very often, and perhaps I should, because it does add an extra little bit to the journey. And it is quite a nice pedestrian and cycle path down here. Quite peaceful, not really that many people, undisturbed, and walking along by the river, with all the wildlife, the bird life, and a lot more pleasing to the eye than the streets that I usually walk through. The reason for that being that I'm normally aiming to get to the main bit of the river that I walk along as quick as possible. And after this little stretch here, I will have to do that again. But perhaps I'll do this more in future. And part of the reason that I started down here again today is because of the reason that I talked about yesterday, being that my second ever video was at night time walking to the pub down this very stretch, although you couldn't have told at the time. Hello, Mr. Robin. You won't be able to see him. Cheeky little chappy. Love robins. So yeah, that's part of the reason that I'm walking down here, just to add an extra little bit to the journey as well. And the first thing that I really want to talk about today is continuity. So I having watched yesterday's video and played it back to myself last night, I realised that I did mention at the beginning. That's the only problem with spring coming. Flies in your face. So I did kind of mention briefly yesterday about the continuity, and I didn't have time to get to that yesterday, with the reason being that I made so many quite long videos on my phone the last few weeks, and they automatically get uploaded to Google Photos, I think it is, to my Google Drive, and then I download them and put them on my computer so that I can edit them. But my phone had become so clogged up, even though it's fairly substantial memory card. Videos take up quite a lot of space, of course, so I've had to go through my phone and delete all of those, just completely wipe my phone of all the data that doesn't need to be there, knowing that I've got copies of it on Google Drive and my personal computer at home. So that's fine, but I just had to free up some space. I couldn't record anymore yesterday, and I was halfway through talking about something that I want to finish today. So there we go, back to the continuity thing. Fucking hell. Flies everywhere. Oh, little bastards, getting right in your eyes. Fucking hell. Well, I think one's gone down my throat as well. Oh, yeah, today, I can see them all hovering over the bushes. Nice trip. And, yeah, thankfully the vegetation's gone now, but I can still see them hovering in the distance. This is that day, isn't it? That day that we dread every year, when for some reason, wherever they come from, wherever they've been hiding, they hatch out and burst out into the environment, into the atmosphere, to lead whatever they do in their lives. Insects, little bastards. Oh. And this is just a little midges, maybe they're the worst. Then we're going to get houseflies and wasps and all sorts of other things. Thank God we only live in England, or I do, where there's nothing really that can cause you any serious harm, insect-wise, and they're just an annoyance, really, more than anything, rather than being deadly. Okay, so continuity is the topic of the beginning of the video because of what I just explained about yesterday about memory usage running out, memory capacity, and it also on a more broader scope, it's important as well, and I'm going to tell you about it. But first of all, I remember at this point on my second ever video I said, well, I'm going to go now because you can hear the water running and over the water falling over what's a weir actually, that you can just see behind me there, maybe in the distance. See that? Obviously man-made weir, as the water cascades down that. Just after going around quite a steep bend in the river, down near a very well-positioned pub called the Old Pint Pot, which is nicely positioned, but that's about it. So, onwards ho, as nobody says. And the continuity that I mentioned yesterday was regarding those first two short videos that I made, where I then had a long gap, several months, and COVID and everything else got in the way, and I didn't make or create anything for ages. However, the quandary that I've had over the last few months as I've started to organise everything and get videos edited ready for uploading is I've made loads of videos, absolutely loads of videos, that I've saved in various places as I just said, and not uploaded any of them to YouTube. None of them have actually gone up yet. So the one I made, that one yesterday, future me with long hair and a bushy beard, talking about the first video that I've ever made. I think that's the most sensible way to go about it. I thought, shall I upload the most recent films first and then work backwards, in case anyone was interested in what came before, or should I upload the first videos that I made first, and then do them all in chronological order after that. But by doing that, some of the early ones perhaps wouldn't make much sense. As you probably saw from the first one that I inserted into yesterday's video, I didn't really say that much. I was only speaking for a minute or so, but I felt like my future me felt like adding a whole lot more in explanation of how I was feeling and the reasons why I was doing things, etc, etc. And then again with the second video in the darkness, the nighttime walk to the pub video, which again is going to be inserted at some point into this one. It's getting confusing, right? I wanted to kind of meld that into it too, so that it was, you know, not seamless, but so that there was more of an explanation behind the first few short videos. That's about it. So that's where I'm at. And as I now proceed to upload more and more in chronological order onto the channel, then I will more than likely be adding little excerpts of future me to help guide the viewer through them, and perhaps offer more background information and add things that I didn't say, because of course there were things that for one reason or another I didn't talk about at the time. So there we go. That's the continuity thing talked about, and I am actually, as you can see, approaching a bit of a main road now, so I'm gonna drop you in my pocket and get you back out again when we're somewhere nicer. Yeah, so there we go. Here I am at the river. It's going to turn out to be a glorious day, I think. Almost starting back down here at what is now known as Lara Croft Basin. Thank you. Lara Croft Basin, I think that should be known as. So the Lara Croft starting point. Lovely, peaceful day, not too much wind. I have looked on YouTube and I'm thinking of investing in or creating my own wind baffle, or I think they're called dead cats or something like that. Bit hard to sort of make or get them for mobile phones, so while I'm still using this as my recording device, I might jimmy one up somehow and see if I can get something to work, like a bit of foam or something, because I have noticed, looking back at my previous videos, that there is quite an issue with wind noise getting in the way of understanding what I'm saying, or just enjoying the video, enjoying the scenery when I'm out somewhere where it's a bit blustery. So that's all planned in action. A bit longer term, I'm looking to invest in a GoPro of some sort, because it would be nice to have that kind of camera where you can get out and about. You're not so worried about breaking it or dropping it. Waterproof, lots of amazing functions, but that's work in progress, because I have heard that the GoPro something or other 9 has got quite a few issues that people aren't happy with, despite it being still the market leader in action cameras, so to speak. So that's work in progress. Just wait for these guys. Oh, flies everywhere. Let this cyclist go through first. Alright. It's not too bad actually. Some of these paths or tow paths, should I say, underneath the bridges by the canal or river are quite narrow, but that one's not too bad. It is Saturday today, so I'm guessing that there's going to be quite a few people about. I forgot about that. Quite a few people and quite a few flies. Try and stay away from the water's edge. So just another brief word to finish off what I was saying about continuity then. I apologise now if in any of my videos that you watch, if I talk about things that haven't happened yet because of the order in which you watch them, or I repeat stuff that if I repeat stuff that I've already talked about, please forgive me. The whole ordering things and talking about things in the past, and it's almost like having to be Doctor Who. God knows how he does it. It must be impossible to go backwards and forwards in time and try and keep everything the same. So that's what I'm going to try and do, until at least I've just gone through the my back catalogue. Well, until I've gone through that and sort of caught up to date with myself, and then after that, obviously, if you watch videos after that, then they're all going to be in the right order. All going to be in the right order. Fucking hell. So there you go. Oh dear, don't take the piss out of me. When I get angry or excited, I don't know, perhaps a little bit of Cockney accent comes out in me. I just can't help it. I can't help it. So there you go. That's rounding off the continuity side of it. I know some people, you know, I'm the same when I watch other people. Sometimes something pops up on, you know, that YouTube recommended to watch, and you think, oh, I've not seen a video in this kind of genre before. So you click on it and you watch it, and you think, oh, that was quite good. And then so you click on that person's channel, and you realise that they've got quite a few videos up. And do you go back to the beginning and watch their first one, or do you continue from the next one after the one you just watched, or do you just mix and match, pick and choose? I guess that's one of the issues that many YouTubers have is, you know, it's difficult to maintain that linear kind of approach and make every single film appealing to everybody, much like an author. There's some people that say this is possibly a bad example, right? Because I love the Lord of the Rings and Tolkien books, and I think it would be very difficult to pick up book 2 of 3, and obviously you might enjoy the story, but you'd have very little. There'd be very little in the story to tell you about what's happened previously. You might pick it up as you go along, but it would be more difficult to do that. Whereas there are perhaps other trilogies, or you know, books in a series, or films in a series even, where you could just happily enjoy that film or that book without maybe even bothering to read the first one in the series, or the second, or the last. You know, they're standalone entities. And that may not be the nature of my channel, although I don't know, just waffle now, innit? Waffle. You know what I'm talking about. Get slightly out of breath from quite a fast pace, and but enjoying this lovely scenery. Just absolutely stunning. I must do it the other way round one day, so that I can, it's always good to get a walk, especially a circular walk, from the other direction, you know, clockwise and then anti-clockwise. You see a lot more different things, surprisingly, when you go back the other way around. And that walk that I did from Buxton to, was it Whaley Bridge the other day? That was such a lovely walk. I must do that again backwards, and just to see what it looks like from the other angle. Right, so that's about it for now. I'm gonna leave you with the view of the river panning out behind me. I'll be down there in a minute, but I've got to go through the building site first, so I'll do that peacefully and leave you to get a cup of tea. Yeah, okay, so where was I? Yesterday I was, which for you is probably the same day because you're watching these back to back, but let's not get into that again. Oh God. Yesterday I was on the canal over there somewhere. I kind of finished up by talking about the new Oxford pub, my local pub, and the good things about it and the not so good things about it, and how I felt leading up to that first short video clip that I made. And I kind of got cut off midstream, mid-sentence about talking about the people in there and my friendships in there, and how I love the place because of that, you know, and the small group of people that I know. When they're in there, I can sit with them all night, and if it comes to that, and have a good laugh, and I'm made to feel welcome, and and the other way round likewise with them, and we all know each other, we all get on really well, we have a laugh, we mess about, we talk about some normal stuff and serious stuff sometimes, and listen to music and sing along when we've had a few too many. It's great, it really is a great atmosphere, but most of those people that I'm talking about tend to be weekend drinkers, so perhaps on a Friday night and a Saturday night, maybe only one of the two. In the past it used to be a Sunday as well, Sunday afternoon, have a couple of pints on the afternoon, which was really nice. You know, you don't want to overdo it on a Sunday before you go back into work on the Monday morning, but it was just a nice sort of finish to the weekend. And through one reason or another, that kind of fizzled out a little bit. So the Sunday drinking stopped, and then the Friday and Saturday would be maybe one of those two, and then it might be spasmodic and not at all. And it was just a bit sad, really, because that close-knit group of people that you know you can go and sit next to and nuzzle in with isn't always there, and that makes me sad, like a sad, lonely alcoholic, really. You know, if I'm spending all my time in there doing that. But that was the weekends, and then during the week, most weeks, another friend which I started talking about yesterday is there during the week mostly, and hardly ever at the weekend, and you know, my hat goes off to that guy Manamu Alas. He knows who he is and who I'm talking about. It's been a steadfast rock for me over the years that I've got to know him, and that's that. But the reason that I was talking about all of that was because even despite all of that, there was sometimes less and less often, in some respects, available to me. I still felt deep down that the atmosphere and the welcome wasn't what it used to be, and in fact I found myself drinking occasionally in other places by myself. In other places, you know, there were a couple of other good pubs, bars open near that place, and cozy, welcoming, but it's difficult, you know. It's difficult when it's like when your family moves away, or if all your family moved away from where you live and went to live in Australia or something. That's the feeling, you know, when your family isn't there anymore. Well, you know they're still there, but you just don't see them so much, for one reason or another, or the occasions or the events that you used to see them at just don't happen so often or on such a frequent basis. And then it's a sad thing when that happens. And like I said, I know it happens to all places, you know, there's people come and go and all that kind of stuff, but I just felt like I needed someone to talk to, and that ended up being myself. So here I am talking to myself, video number 27 or something like that, and that's basically why I made those first two videos, which are going to be inserted at some point here, to give me and you some kind of short background as to where it all stemmed from, and what led to me doing this now, you know, and I think that's about all I've got to say on the subject. There was one more thing, and that was Shortly after those 2 videos, of course, then COVID hit, and the world went into turmoil, and pubs shut down and then reopened, and people were furloughed and then back to work, and then working online from home. Well, me personally, that's what happened to me. Didn't know I don't watch the news really, but didn't know from one minute to the next. You know, someone out of the loop like me that doesn't watch the news, doesn't really listen to the radio or buy newspapers. I was quite out of the loop really for the last year, knowing whether I was meant to be in work, out of work, whether I was being paid or not, whether the pubs were open, whether the supermarkets were open, whether you had to wear a mask or not. It's I almost had to rely on, you know, friends mentioning it now and again. But that's what happened, and for a brief period, I think only one brief period during the last year, the pubs were open again, but massive restrictions were in place. So what had already started to become almost a hostile environment to go at my local, you know, to go drinking in, became even worse. You know, everything that was bad about it was accentuated, because when you arrived, you had to arrive with your face mask on, and then you had to arrive with your face mask on, and then at the door, before you even got in the place, you had to sanitize your hands, fill in a book to say who you were and what your number was for track and trace reasons, and then find a table to sit at. When you got to the table and ordered, someone came over to take your drinks order, and then your drinks were brought to the table. You're only allowed to take your mask off if you're actually drinking or eating peanuts or something like that. If you get up to go to the toilet or to go and speak to someone else, you have to put your mask on. If you want to go outside for a cigarette, you got to go all the way through the pub, out the back door, and back in the front door again when you're finished, and then all that palaver again. It wasn't enjoyable. Wasn't fun at all. I didn't find any pleasure in that. You know, you couldn't really choose who you sat next to or mingle. And unfortunately, some of the bar staff were absolute sort of really on top with it all, really on top, like extreme to an extreme, where people were, you can't come in without your face mask, you can't stand up without your face mask on, you've got to sign in, you haven't signed in, go back and sign in, there's a queue there, you've got to queue up, what are you going out the front door for? You know, after 10 years of going out the front door, it's sitting near the front door. The place where I normally sit is near the front door. So after 10 years of sitting there, and when I need a cig, getting up, going out the front door and having a cigarette, and then come back in the same door, I had to get up, I had to walk all the way through loads of people. I had to walk through dozens of people to the back door because of the stupid fucking one-way system. What's that all about? These measures were put in. People are stupid. People are absolutely stupid. The measures are put in place. The one-way system kind of idea was put in place so that to reduce the possibility of people coming into contact with each other, and yet the very system that the you know, not just this pub, many other pubs too, I'm sure, the bar staff are shouting at you across the bar as if you're, you know, sort of as if Hitler's just walked in with a Uzi machine gun, shouting at you that you can't go out that door, you've got to go all the way around past the other people and then, you know, follow the one-way system. Surely it's just much more logical to, if there's nobody between me and the front door, let me go out the front door. If actually the back door route has less people, then let me go through that one, or encourage me or force me to go through that one. But you know, add all of this attitude to what was already becoming not such a welcome place to drink, and I just thought, oh fuck this. I've been quite glad, to be honest with you. I hope when pubs reopen again soon, apparently I've heard somewhere, you know, I've read between the lines that Boris has got an agenda for when things can open again. You know, like suddenly on July the 12th, COVID's just going to go away and go to Mars for a holiday or something. So then it will all be completely safe then, for things to go back to normal. And when that does happen, and hopefully the pub opens again, and hopefully there aren't quite so many Stasi sort of regimes in place that we all have to abide by, then I'm looking forward to going back in the pub and seeing what it has to offer, seeing what the staff are like, seeing what the decor is like, because apparently it's been done again, seeing what kind of beers are on, seeing what state the beers are, seeing what state the beers are in, since all the brewers have been, or possibly some of the brewers have been shut for months and months and months. They can't all be selling their beer in little cans for £1.50 in Tesco's. So it'll be interesting to see who goes back in, whether people still avoid the place or not, or will people go in their droves. My gut feeling at the moment is that that when that date arrives, that Friday or Saturday, I imagine that it will be, that the nation in their millions will pile back into their local pubs, just out of sheer desperation for a drink and to go and see their mates again, and you know, to do the thing that we all love so much in England, in the UK. So I imagine that will be the first few days or weeks, or maybe even a couple of months of that, and then things might die down again. The alternative being, of course, that it might go the other way around, and people won't bother at all. They got so used to drinking at home and how much cheaper it is to drink at home, and they'll just stay away out of fear of still being able to get it or whatever. So there's my musings about the subject. Wait and see what happens. Be glad to go back and see everybody again, see some familiar faces, but I haven't really missed it that much, if I'm honest. There's a few people I've missed. I've missed the camaraderie and laughs and jokes, and getting slightly tipsy on a Friday night at the end of a week, and I shall look forward to that again. But as I kind of hinted in my first or second video that I made, which is linked, then you know, I don't want to overdo it. If anything, this last year has taught me that I don't need to go to the pub every weekend and get pissed and then feel terrible the next day. You know, I don't need to relive those moments in my life. Those days are gone, and it's nice sometimes. I would say at the moment I'm going through a week and probably having 1 or 2 cans of beer during the week. Maybe a bottle of wine will last me a week. You know, obviously once you've opened it, you feel like you're obliged to drink it then, because it's, you know, more than 3 or 4 days, it's going to start going sour. But yeah, lost a lot of weight. It's been good. And now I'm going to lose a little bit more in the light of the terrible barrier that crosses this main road, and seems to insist on trying to chop my fucking meatballs off every time I cross the road. So let's try and get across there. The next part of the video is me in a falsetto. You know what's happened. So I feel like kind of the direction that I've been leading up to with the last few things that I've talked about is is in a way trying to justify to you and to myself why I started this whole thing. You know, what made me decide to do it in the first place, and as you can see, that it's a complex subject to pinpoint and put my finger on. When you have, let's say, give some examples. So, for example, if someone dies, like my dad did recently, you know, you might feel if someone you love passes away, then you might feel sadness and bitterness or joy, or you know, there's a kind of a set average kind of selection of emotions that people feel in that kind of situation. You pass an exam, you're overjoyed. You sort of fail an exam, you know, the opposite. There's various sort of almost kind of standardized human emotions that we have in reactions to different situations in our lives, and they're fairly predictable. But trying to put my finger on the reasons and the motives behind what I'm doing now and the reasons behind it, it's a very tricky thing. And obviously the way that I started with the first couple of videos back then, I've tried to explain that with in relation to the pub, and we'll just hop under this. So yeah, in relation to the pub and how it was going, in relation to my situation at the time generally, and still, you know, still single after 10 years, having a very few people that I can call friends, that I see in varying quantities during the week, sometimes not at all. Not really having a partner, I think that's one of the big things. Coming home, and the whole pub thing is probably because of not having a partner, or at least having a partner, you know, girlfriend or a wife would have gone some way to flattening out the curves, and you know, making life easier when you've got someone to come home to, and they have too, you know. And I don't think you realise until you don't have one, just what you're missing. You know, that's one of the downsides to being single, like we talked about the other day, you know, or maybe you'll watch that in the future, you know, time and all that, time travel and all that. So yeah, it's a interesting, deep, convoluted subject, and not an explanation that I can just readily blurt out in a sentence. I think another factor that's just popped into my head could be also the fact that I'm in a 2-bedroom flat, and a lot of the time I have a lodger. Over the 20 extra 22 years or something that I've lived there, I've probably had about 10-12 lodgers over the course of that time. Some staying for longer, some for shorter, before they move on and go and do their other things. And I, at the time of the first video, I hadn't had a lodger for a while. I'd stayed for any length of time anyway, and having that company, you know, the company of somebody else living with you is an extra thing to consider. Again, there's benefits to that. You know, when you've got your flat to yourself, you can wander around naked and do whatever you want, do whatever you please, play whatever music you like, watch telly or not, whatever you want to watch on telly or not, as the case may be. You know, leave the clothes all over the shop if you wanted to. Not that I do any of those things, but having somebody there living with you, even if it's just the knowledge that somebody is there. Every time I come under this, is that because of the frequency of the trams, or is it because I'm just unlucky? Woe is me. So yeah, even just knowing that somebody's there can be very comforting, you know. knowing that somebody will be there, even if you're at home alone and you've got a lodger. There's people across on the other side of the canal there looking at me as if to say, what's he sticking his finger up to? Oh, fucking madman. So yeah, it's comforting knowing that someone's in the next room, or comforting knowing that somebody's going to be home soon because they sleep in the bedroom next to yours, or you can hear someone cooking in the kitchen with the radio on, or even if you're not actually in the process of talking to them right that second, and sitting on the sofa with a bottle of wine or whatever, it's nice knowing that they're there. So there's lots of little chinks to this story, and I guess during lockdown, maybe lockdown what did me a favour in that respect, because it gave me something to do. Yeah, I have spent the last year more or less by myself, hardly seen anyone, hardly spoke to anyone apart from close family and the odd occasional friend, but it has given me the opportunity to think about what I really want and to try and put the right steps forward to discovering myself and what I want. So that's where I am. I spent a little bit of money on good quality camping gear and things to go walking with, and so that's been good. I've been able to get out and about as and when lockdowns have permitted, and even then sometimes for my daily exercise. I hate doing that, by the way, but I had to do it because that's what everyone does. So getting out and about for my daily exercise, and that's been about it really, what I've been up to, as you'll see from subsequent videos. Getting out and about, sometimes on the train, walking, cycling, looking at the countryside and the city around me, and just starting to enjoy it. And the obvious thing that's naturally kind of been born from that over the last few months, or last few weeks and months, is my increased output, and woe would be me if work suddenly rang and said, okay, you're going back to work full time starting tomorrow or starting next week. I'd be quite disappointed, actually, in a way. Obviously I love my job and I want the school to survive, I want this business to survive, and for the other teachers and everything to get their jobs back, and that would be great. Have something to do during the day and something creative, a job that I love doing. I'd love for that to happen, of course, but part of me would be sorely disappointed that I can't get out almost every day or every other day, on even if it's just a 5 or 6 miler like it is down by the river and canal here, or further afield up in the Pennines, or further afield than that even, that is on my list, my plan of places to go. The Lake District, Wales, the southwest coast of England and Cornwall, explore more of Scotland, do the coast to coast path, all these plans and ideas that I've got. I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope the rest of my life and going back to normal after COVID doesn't get in the way so much that I can't still go and do those things. I'm sure it won't. Watch this space. Talking of space, here we are in the middle of what I think is Pomona Island, with the whiff of burning tyres on the air. Disgusting. I think that might be the scrapyard up there or something. Car scrapyard. But look at it. Beautiful, beautiful. Hardly a soul around. Such a shame that it's actually just scrub, and what a lovely park this could be, for example. This could be the main path through the place, You know, with little offshoots, they could plant some trees, get some woodland going. You know, river one side, canal the other. Maybe get a pond in the middle. A little special area for little kids, a playground for little kids, and then maybe over there, you know, where the humps are, they could have like a little skateboarding or mountain biking sort of park thing for the teens. Yeah, although probably the teenagers would much rather have an off license and a bus stop. Right, okay. I'm almost at my little bridge where it seems to have been custom to stop and have a cup of tea. If I don't talk to you during my tea and cigarette, then I'll see you after that. So there you go, there was back on the canal then now, and unfortunately I'm now surrounded by walkers and cyclists again. Not quite as bad as a Sunday, but still nonetheless quite busy, and I don't know how much I'll actually get done here, but yeah, so to sum it all up then, that's kind of the background which has led me to where I am now today, and I hope it continues, because it's, if nothing else, it's very therapeutic. That's cool. Father and daughter on a tandem. Don't see many of them. So yeah, there we go. That's better. Yeah. So it's been. I found it very therapeutic so far. It's quite nice having. I know I'm talking to myself on a phone, but it's actually quite nice to have someone to talk to about a range of different subjects, and explore lots of different things. And I did actually try writing a diary. I was in the process. I started writing a diary or a journal, not every day, but I did start doing that, and writing down my thoughts and ideas when I went to different cafes. Shut up! It must be mating season, because there's just pairs of Canada geese just having a right go at each other. If you're like that now, guys, imagine what you'd be like in 30 years' time. God, you'll hate each other. So yeah, so that's it's been quite good for me. Good to increase my confidence, getting out and about, going places, and doing things which perhaps 2 years ago I wouldn't have had the confidence to do, and that's something that I will cover in another video. But hang on, let's just try and negotiate this little narrow bit here.
As much as I don't really want to admit it.
Getting closer to the city centre, so it's getting quite busy, thanks. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do this, to get out, to walk out and about, to talk to myself on a camera. I just wouldn't have been able to do that. Even just getting on a train or a bus, or leaving the flat sometimes, you know. So it's really good. It's really healthy for mental well-being, doing this kind of thing, and I highly recommend it. Whether you do it whether you record yourself doing it or not, just getting out and about, forcing yourself those first few steps. Just take baby steps, get out and about, and enjoy the environment around you as much as you can, and your confidence will grow. So if anything, yes, I'm doing it for myself, and it's been good. And as a result of that, as a result of the benefits and the bonuses and the improvement in my mental health that I've noticed through doing this, I would highly recommend it to anybody else. And I hope that in making these videos, that I do encourage other people to do the same. Much like, and this is going back to a video, one of my first ones that I made when I did a walk from Hadfield to Glossop, which is a video that you'll be able to see, a very short one again, but during that walk, I mentioned a couple of other YouTubers that have really inspired me and helped me, and are great ones to go and have a look and subscribe to, because Abbie and Haze Outdoors are both again two YouTubers that are encouraging people to get out and about and explore the wildlife and the countryside, and for your own benefit, and to make it making places more accessible, and giving you things to do that will help you to improve your confidence in life in general. You know, it doesn't just help you during the walk itself. The confidence builds, and you become more and more at one with yourself, and more adept at negotiating the pitfalls.
Thank you.
The pitfalls of everyday life, as well as the pitfalls and the ups and downs of the physical journey itself. Really does help. And compared to where I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, this voyage of discovery is something that I'd recommend anyone to do.